One would wonder or ask why heritage studies. Nowadays, everyone wants to go for the fancy, neglecting the necessary. Today, we will unpack and you, the learners, will understand how heritage studies can help you, especially if you want to study law and other relevant areas at university. Welcome to the show. My name is Patience Iswanda. To help with this task is the educator, Mr. Butelezi. Welcome, Advanced Day of Heritage Learners countrywide. Tatsoka zvenenyaya yatamba kutaura nezvayo yeheritage. Ngilo Mr. Butelezi lapha onguye owaluqeqeshelayo lolu gwalo. Sesingazi ukuthi yena angabe esimumethelele. Mr. Butelezi.
Thank you so much, Patience. We are going to be talking about heritage today, and we know that heritage is a subject that was added to our curriculum by Zimsec, and we know that learners right now, they might be anxious to know what it all entails. But we are aware, of course, that heritage was introduced at primary level, and then it was then incorporated into the secondary level. This year, we might be also aware that most schools have taken up heritage studies, and it's interesting for us to find out really the reason why there is so much hype about heritage studies. What I can say is that heritage studies is a discipline that has always been in existence. It's as old as mankind itself. However, the actual integration of heritage studies into curriculum studies was probably started in the 1970s, going on to the 80s, specifically 1985. That's when heritage studies was recognized as a discipline. Now, having said that, learners, it's so important for you to be motivated. So we understand, because we are in the classroom, and we know that there are challenges that might be there in terms of trying to appreciate a new learning area. Like I've said, heritage studies is not really a new area. It has always been part of our lives. However, why introduce heritage studies? Maybe the interesting aspect is the fact that heritage studies is so important as a focal point of our existence. Last month, I had the privilege of interacting with one of the managers who's managing our cultural heritage area at the Natural History Museum, Miss S. Kumalo. She indicated to us that basically it seems like Zimbabwe was lagging behind in terms of appreciating the significance of heritage studies in the learning areas. Why am I emphasizing this? It's because it's so important that we understand that this is not something that is just happening here in Zimbabwe, but it is something that has always been there in other countries. In fact, using her own words, she said that she found it very odd that in sub-Saharan Africa, Zimbabwe was the only one that was not putting emphasis on heritage studies. I will further give a general definition of heritage. Heritage, from a general perspective, is the legacy from the past that we have inherited in the future. Now, heritage is supposed to help our future generations to appreciate really what was in the past. Now, to appreciate what was in the past, people have to have this kind of connection. There's been a disconnection in the education sphere because we did not really put too much emphasis on heritage. So, what am I saying? I'm simply saying that learners, heritage is so important for you to know where you are coming from and where you are going.
Okay, Mr. Butelezi. So why the emphasis on heritage now? Why are we emphasizing it now?
Okay, maybe we can say that considering the trajectory that our country needs to take up, it has become so important for especially us as Zimbabweans to realize that we are the ones that can actually change our futures. In the past, we used to really think that probably outsiders are the people that can actually make life better for us. But realization and also maybe wisdom has made us realize that if people are proud to be who they are, there is a direction that comes from that. There is a significance. You start having a sense of belonging. And once you have that sense of belonging, you know why you are there, why you exist, and why you are supposed to do what you are supposed to do as a community, as a society, as a nation, and as a country.
Interesting. Thank you, Mr. Moore. Let's just take a short commercial break. We'll come back.
Thank you, Pesh.
International Coaching and Mentoring Foundation, ICMF, is the leading organization in certification and accreditation of coaches and mentors. ICMF has highly competent and experienced coaches who are ready to transform and empower individuals and organizations to reach their full potential. Be it relationship coaching, executive coaching, leadership coaching, career coaching, youth leadership coaching, team building coaching, business coaching, strategy, and other organizational development OD coaching programs. This is where the love of coaching begins and ends. ICMF is more than an internationally recognized coach certification organization, with its head office in Harare, Zimbabwe. For more details, visit our website at intercoachingmentoring.org, email us at info@intercoachingmentoring.org. Feel free to call us anytime. Do you want your organization to grow? Then register your managers and staff for coaching and mentoring with us today.
Welcome to Padandaro Guest House Lodge. At Padandaro, we offer the following services: intimate weddings, catering services, venues for photo shoots, and conference rooms and accommodation for school workshops. Padandaro Guest House, where the heart is.
Umthombolwazi TV.
The power of information.
Welcome back, learners. Welcome, Mr. Mselezi.
Thank you, Peshi.
Okay, before the break, you highlighted the importance of heritage. So, sangathi ungasichasisela kabanzi ukuthi yona iqhakatheke ngani, because we know we have lower sixes out there who are taking this subject for granted. So, wena sangathi ungabachasisela kabanzi ukuthi yona subject le iqhakatheke ngani, bengayiqhakathekisa kanjani.
Okay, siyabonga tinothenda. I really think that it's important that we maybe look at the areas of study that learners can go into, so that maybe I can really answer your question well. Firstly, there are a number of universities right now which are in Zimbabwe, which are actually offering studies that are related to heritage studies. We have degrees like Bachelor of Arts, Honors in Culture and Heritage Studies. We have Archaeology, Cultural Heritage and Monuments. You have studies in History and Culture. You also have Law. And then you also have the cottage of Anthropology, Ethnography, African Languages, and even like NGOs, where you have to look at development studies, where you also be especially involved in cultural studies. Now, in terms of probably like how good or how prospective it is to actually take up heritage studies. When things start and when new things are introduced, at times I know and we understand that people tend to be really scared, if I might say. But from what we've observed, the trajectory in Zimbabwe has been changing. We've had a number of institutions like I've said, universities like MSU, Great Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe Open University, even the University of Zimbabwe, taking up, this mentor or this torch of ensuring that our learners, they graduate into an area where they can be able to execute, their appreciation of heritage and culture. Now, when looking at probably, I want to also emphasize law, because I know that we have a tendency of having a number of learners also being interested in law. A law can actually be, there's an area that they can actually go into, which is actually, specific. When you look at law, they can actually study international heritage and cultural law. This is an area that is also evolved over time, and it is now part of the legal aspects that protect our heritage. So in short, I think from my own perspective, it is so the areas are wide where they can go into, and the jobs are actually there and probably demanding, because we have a number of areas, heritage sites that need curators. We have a number of areas that need researchers. We have a number of areas, especially like when I was talking about the non-governmental organizations, who need, people who have an appreciation of their heritage, their culture, and their people. Thank you for that.
Okay, so Mr. Buthelezi, Form 5 abangabe befunda le subject, ungabaqonqoselani, ungathini kubo?
Well, my encouragement is simple, really, because having been in the classroom for quite some time, I realized that when learners come, especially in this day and time, when they take up subjects, they want subjects that will not disappoint them, that will help them to graduate into university, to be able to get the actual points they require, to be able to do something that they can actually appreciate when they are doing it, and also something that is going to give them a future. I'm just encouraging learners right now to take heritage studies seriously and to also embrace it, not only for the sake of self-interest, but for the interest of communities and the nation, because we've come to a point where we really need to understand ourselves and to be proud of who we are. And not only that, to know that if we maintain and keep and preserve our heritage, we are going to be able to leave future generations with something that they can talk about. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, art students, I'm sure you have heard yourself what Mr. Buthelezi has just said. Thank you. Learners, we have come to the end of this week's segment. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for choosing Umthombolwazi TV. Looking forward to your viewership next week on Wednesday at 10:00 hours. Thank you.
Alright.
Mina uqina qinisile ukuthi qinisile uqina akuqina zibizibi qinisile.
For audiobooks, iyanqokwa Dingani Bookshop and Stationery. Bringing literature closer to the community.
Umthombolwazi TV.
The power of information.